Hello, good evening. Welcome to our channel Yushi Talks, and today we're talking about a Canadian woman, Alison Holthoff, who dies after waiting for 7 hours in Nova Scotia emergency room. You have more details. Please continue to watch this video. A Canadian mom of three died in agony at a Nova Scotia hospital after waiting for medical help in the emergency room for nearly 7 hours on New Year's Eve, and now her widowed husband is demanding answers. Gunter Holtoff told reporters earlier this week that his 37-year-old wife Alison woke up on December 31st complaining of what she thought was an upset stomach. He said Alison had fallen off a horse in September and has been suffering from pain ever since. Throughout the day, her condition deteriorated, and after taking a bath, the woman ended up writhing in pain on floor. Holtoff drove Alison to the Cumberland Regional Healthcare Center in Amherst, arriving there shortly after 11 a.m. and carrying her on into the building on his back because she was unable to walk. The husband then got a wheelchair and wheeled his wife into the emergency room. He said she was struggling to sit up because of the excruciating pain. I did tell the triage nurse and the lady behind the desk that it was getting worse, he said. She wasn't doing good and was in pain. Hospital staff took samples of Alison's blood and urine, which her husband said proved difficult because she was in so much pain by then. Alison was instructed to sit in the waiting room, but her condition worsened to the point that she had to lie on the floor in a fetal position. As they waited for a doctor to see Alison, security guards brought some blankets to cover her and a cup of water. It was then Holthoff said his wife started telling him that she thought she was dying. She said, "I'm dying. I think I'm dying. Don't let me die here," he said. At 3 p.m., the Holthoffs were finally led into the exam room where more blood samples were taken from the patient. Holthoff said he went to the nursing desk 5 times telling staffers his wife was feeling worse. He said one of the nurses asked him if Alison was always like this. Alison's eyes then started rolling back in her head, prompting the nurse to inquire to her husband if the married mom was on drugs, to which he said no. Holthoff said Alison continued, saying she felt like she was dying. At around 6 p.m., nearly 7 hours after the Holthoffs first arrived at the hospital, Alison began screaming in pain and begging for help. Another nurse came in to check her vitals and found that her pulse was elevated and her blood pressure low. Everything happened quickly after that. Everyone started picking up the pace, the husband said. That was the first time I actually felt like someone was paying attention to us. At last, Alison was seen by a doctor for the first time that afternoon, given IV fluids and painkillers. She then had an EKG done and was taken to an X-ray room. Holthoff briefly stepped away, and when he returned, he said he found his wife screaming, "I can't breathe. I'm in pain. Don't move me." Alison's eyes rolled back in their sockets again, and a code blue was called, alerting medics that a patient was experiencing a cardiac arrest. According to Holthoff, Alison was resuscitated 3 times, but a decision was made not to operate on her because the odds of her surviving a surgery were determined to be minimal given her condition. Holthoff said a doctor revealed to him that a CT scan showed bleeding inside his wife's body, but its source could not be pinpointed. They had a 1% chance of keeping her alive with surgery, but at that point there was not much chance of her ever having a normal or dignified life, Holthoff said. After the husband and his 3 children said their final goodbye to Alison, she was officially pronounced dead at around 11:30 p.m., some 12 hours after she first set foot inside the emergency room. More than a week later, Holthoff said he doesn't know the cause of his wife's death yet because the autopsy report has not been released. Unfortunately, I do feel like she was neglected, and it was to a point where they couldn't ignore us anymore, the bereaved husband told reporters. In the wake of tragedy, the woman's family and several Nova Scotia politicians have called on the province's government to explain why the patient's medical care was delayed for hours. The Department of Health and Wellness said Monday that Nova Scotia Health Authority had launched an investigation to determine what happened in Alison's case. We need change. The system is obviously broken, or if it's not broken yet, it's not too far off, Holthoff said. Something needs to improve. I don't want anybody else to go through this. That's all we have in today's video. Please continue to watch this space for more informative news. Thanks for watching us. You have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.